r/Airbnb hosts. Jody137 says, has anyone noticed guest expectations have gotten out of control lately? Ever since COVID I've noticed that guests are showing up and demanding really extravagant things. For example, my apartment has a broken utility closet door. It doesn't affect anything. It's just a utility closet at the far back of the apartment that no one ever uses. It would be difficult to replace the door and no one ever complained about it pre-COVID. But now guests show up and demand I get a carpenter in to install a new door. Another guest complained about the color of the walls and asked me to paint them a different color. And another booked knowing that the apartment had no elevator then low-starred me because the building had no elevator. Really odd things like that. Is it just me, or are guests just becoming super exacting and entitled? Wildwinder6430 says, yep, had a run of over 75-star reviews then in the past year or so, a bunch of 4 stars and my first ever 3-star. Random complaints, usually first revealed to us on the public review. The firewood in the outdoor wood pile was wet, didn't like the color of the sofa, coffee mugs were too big, tea selection didn't include mango flavored tea, weather wasn't great, they wanted to see a bear or moose but none appeared during their stay, only 2 towels per person. Provided spices left in cupboard, got a 3 on value when they got a 25% discount. After saying the proximity to the ski resort was priceless. It's gotten insane. Jard944 says, no discounts unless it's built into the pricing system. Anyone that asks is most assuredly value conscious and honestly will likely leave a relatively negative review. Eternal Sunshine says, I haven't encountered any of that yet. But it's annoying that guests will break things and not tell you, or take things that were clearly not up for grabs. Dontmin5400 says, not a host, but as a frequent guest I miss the days when the expectation was to have a clean roof over your head. And when less than a 5-star review would not doom a property. It meant that some of the more quirky spaces and hosts could still operate. I met so many interesting people, saw some interesting houses, and saved money. Snoo70488 says, yes, to the point I'm considering leaving Airbnb. I used to really enjoy hosting and meeting new people, but lately it's not so great. There are a lot of demanding, entitled people out there, and I'm tired of dealing with them. It's just not worth the hassle anymore. Milliseconds, Krian says, I think that's because Airbnb used to be something where you could crash in someone's spare room for $30 or rent their house for a weekend for cheaper than a hotel. And now you guys are all doing this weird luxury thing with cleaner fees and throw your garbage out and yada yada. I'm gonna expect a whole lot more from paying $200 for a place that I'm paying $45. Miss Gitty Midway says, I have a theory Airbnb used to be just staying in someone's home. Maybe they'd put their personal items away, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they'd be on site to make breakfast, maybe they'd be renting out the family ski cabin. Companies rolled in and now they're investment properties. Now people are expecting more of a hotel vibe, all new, on-demand service, basically a Marriott without the hot breakfast. Someone left one of my properties a 4-star because there wasn't a welcome book with recommendations. Someone left a 2-star because one of them is an upper level of a duplex and it got too warm, which we said would happen in the listing. Someone on another said that their vacation rental designer ordered the furniture for looks not function. The homie owner still lives there, they're just out of town a lot. Personally, I'll always be a vacation house renter. I like having a kitchen and living space, and traveling with a group it's nice to have separate bedrooms. Gerard Jesmum says, that sounds insane. I have experienced nothing of the sort. Throw away 12,257,393,929 says, I've had a few guests recently with weird expectations regarding entry and temperature. My house is a Google home, So it's a unique pin code entry and a Nest thermostat. You think that wouldn't be terribly difficult, but some folks have acted like it's the end of the world. r/Airbnb hosts. Daryl MJ says, just had the most Karen of Karens ever. Too long, didn't read, a returning customer who we knew to be very picky and constantly needs to communicate with host, gave us a bad review. We proved to Airbnb that the review was fake and got it deleted. We had a previous guest request to stay at our Airbnb a few weeks ago. Previously this guest was a pain in the butt. She loves to communicate every single day on trivial things. How she thinks the alarm should be set up, how our Airbnb needs a blender because she brought fruits and she'll have to toss them, etc. Even our initial communication was a slow of messages because she rapidly cancelled her previous booking as she claimed it was infested with roaches and needed a place last minute. We were able to check her in early at no cost. She also claims to be an Airbnb property manager. As much as this guest was super annoying in terms of communication, she never damaged the place or did anything malicious. We accepted her recent request and said we'd hold our breath until she left. List of things communicated about. She got to the Airbnb a little early and wonder if we could unlock the door. It was only 30 minutes, so we allowed it. She can't find the comforter for a bed. We send a picture of the comforter exactly on the bed as displayed in the pictures. She says it's there. The sheets feel a bit damp. The sheets were washed and dried over a week ago. There is no way this is possible, and yet the sheets were all perfectly dried the next day. Last time she came she recommended we change our alarm setup to how she does it at her personal home, but she noticed we didn't. She came back to see the alarm disabled one day. Did we enter the residence without her permission? Guest left a window open and set the alarm when they left. This triggered the security alarm, and we had to disable it remotely. She initially accused us of being the ones to leave a window open, which is impossible as the alarm would have gone off, then later admitted it was her son. She can't figure out why the alarm went off before she got to the panel. This was because one day she didn't follow the rules and didn't disable the alarm before opening the door and going outside. So of course opening the front door would trigger an alarm that you can disable yourself. She also was seemingly upset that we didn't respond to that message 11 PM until morning. The patio light isn't working. Could you send someone over to fix it? Yes, because it's 2 PM in the day and it's a solar light. Also, why does that matter urgently? It's 32 female. Outside you won't be sitting on the patio and the outside of the house is well lit. We slept in the cold last night. I set the temp to 78 and checked it later in the night and it was at 70. I had to set it to 78 again in the morning. I've never heard a single guest complain about an issue like this, but I'll give this guest the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the scheduler got activated somehow. Based on this guest's track record, I'm inclined to not believe her entirely though. A bed is missing a flat sheet and we would like an extra comforter. This was the cleaner's error, and we told her how to easily find multiple flat sheets. We also went to IKEA and bought extra comforters and brought them over. She can't find the jar of washing machine pods that she saw last time. We have never offered pods in our amenities officially, but we do leave them out for our guests at times. Her review. 4 in all categories, including check-in, which she got early check-in for free. Commented that the surrounding neighborhood is bland. We are at the end of winter, all flowers and trees are empty, and that there's a flickering street light. This is in front of our neighbor's house. Also said her family had to sleep in the cold as there was no heat in the house. We have never had less than 5 from a customer, and people usually comment that the house is exactly as described. So for her to give us 4 in those categories definitely comes off as malicious. A private comment was sent to us saying she expected that, based on the myriad of issues we would have offered a credit or extra days, and she is a bit turned off that we didn't. We asked Airbnb to review messages in the review and they concluded that the review was not truthful and instantly removed it. Also blocked her as we have Instabook on, and we don't wish to have her as a guest again. It's hilarious to me how in several communications to us, she repeatedly mentioned that she knows she comes off picky and she doesn't mean to be that way. I get that some people aren't self-aware, but the fact that you are aware that you're a major complainer and still continue to do it blows my mind. Gerald22 says, some guests are asshats. Some hosts are asshats. I'm always baffled that these two sets of individuals can't find each other. I'm so sorry. 73 Easting6 says, good job getting review removed. I have instant book also. The few times I have had return guests book that I don't want to return, I have been successful in getting them to cancel. If they didn't, I would have went to Airbnb support, but have not had to yet. 1234 FRMR says, I just had a nuisance guest myself this weekend. She's still communicating after her departure about having me store forgotten items for weeks until she's back in the area. Hard pass for this guest. I counted the communications between us and it hit 119 for a 2-day discounted weekend stay. On departure, after bending over backwards for a week prior to her stay, then an onslaught of neediness during her stay, she sent me a list of complaints, while also saying she had a great time, although was disappointed. I've been crafting my review in my head all day. To cool down for a bit. Chicken Lady 1819 says, was she by herself? I cannot imagine anyone willingly travel with this woman. Cat Ginger says, sorry about this opus. My god, some people are nuts. Makes me laugh like, if you are that picky, why stay in Airbnbs? Surely a hotel where you have a 24-hour reception and staff to bother is better suited. Kinda disappointed you didn't get to review The Witch. Anxious Cheetah 5589 says, if you checked no under, would you host again? After her first visit, would that prevent a second visit? Fool me once. OK Indication 7876 says, wow, please tell me you also marked her would not host again. Save us all from this person. Wildwinder 6430 says, how did you get the review removed? Was it because of the message that she sent saying she was disappointed she didn't get a refund? I've been trying to get a review removed that contained a lie, stated we were an arbitrage and run by a third party when we are not, and Airbnb would not remove the review. Sorry you had to deal with this guest, how awful. Dariel MJ says, what's funny is we didn't want to leave a review because an annoying guest is not necessarily the worst you can get when it comes to Airbnb. At the same time, she isn't a pleasant guest. I feel bad that the next host won't have a clue about what kind of person they are dealing with. Mando 135,792,468 says, I wonder what people would think if folks started calling black people they don't like by a black name. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.